Imagine if bishops were given the responsibility to decide each week whether or not to hold the sacramental ritual. And look at how this satanic technique of sabotage is involved when you're first studying the fine art of manpower and customizing it for your own system. How many of us had the experience of, I'm doing really well, therefore I can skip manpower, or I'm such a mess, I need to skip manpower? And in both cases, we skip it. So I'm imagining a bishop getting up in front of the ward, and right before the sacramental ceremony, he does a vibe feel, and he goes, you know what, we're doing really good as a ward, so I'm thinking we can skip the sacrament. Or the opposite of that, which might be something like, you guys are a mess, I've had several interviews, we don't even deserve to take the sacrament today. When I started interviewing people on their manpower, and I says, why are you missing it? I got half of them saying, I'm skipping manpower because I'm doing so well, and I got the other half saying, I'm skipping manpower because I'm a mess. So how cool is that? How fascinating of a trick is that from Satan to be able to use both sides of the coin to collapse people? What have you done to turn yourself into a brain farmer, effective gardening of your own brain, to build in rituals of remembering to counterbalance the pattern of forgetting? It's almost as if there's a rule or a law. If I want to harvest any new thoughts, I have to go through the farming process of writing. My ability to access revelation and insight and new ideas is very limited if I just try to do it in my head. I can get little sparks, like I can tell that could go somewhere and I can tell that can go somewhere, but it's not until I sit down and start writing until that starts to flow. I think that part of that is God's awareness of my natural brain is limited in what it can hold at one time. My RAM is really small with my brain. I've got I don't have okay hard drive memory. Okay, I've got a good processor. I've got a really good processor, but I don't have really good RAM, and so if I don't start writing, I'm going to lose it all. It's going to come in easy. So I'm not going to waste my time giving you revelation that's going to fall on the ground and roll under the couch.
If you're finding this video helpful or want to help us reach others in need, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because it really supports our channel. Thank you.
And I don't know if I've mentioned Gene the Genius, one of my first mentors in psychology. This guy, when I first started doing my work, he was probably over 65 years old, and I met him at his peak, and then within a year he started going through brain degeneration, and we lost all of his genius before he could write it down. There is no USB port in the back of his head. So if I may suggest so, with all that stuff you've worked hard to put in your head, please don't let it die with you, because you never know when you're going to get hit by a truck or get one of those dementias. Those who plan and write it down are winning faster than those who do not. That's starting to become delineated between those who are succeeding and those who are not, or at least with respect to speed. I want to confess to some compensation systems for my weaknesses. One of the things I learned, I can't remember where I learned it, but I learned that the key to overcoming your weaknesses is to not necessarily overcome your weaknesses, but to create a compensation system. I have 2 or 3 appointments per week with co-writers of books because I don't have the self-discipline to work on them by myself. So what I do is, it looks like I have self-discipline, but I don't. Almost every passion project I have, the secret to my success is I make appointments with people who are relevant to the progress of that program or service or book, and then I'm stuck showing up with either something to add or something to do during it. We're writing a book called The Devil Exposed right now, which is supposed to be the alternate book to Jesus the Christ. I have a 1-hour appointment every day where all I do is sit down with my co-author of it, and we sit there while I type, and he asks me questions about what I'm typing. For an hour, we're on Zoom, we're on the phone, we're sharing a Google document, and I'm writing, and he's all, can you explain a little bit more about that? Or how come you changed the wording right there? Or why is this important? Or when did you want to include this principle? So he just sits there. This guy makes a lot more money than I make per hour, but this passion project is really important to him, so he set aside an hour per week where we sit down and write. The secret to self-discipline is to not have self-discipline. This concept of self-motivation is overrated. Team up with someone who has the same interest that you have and work together on the project. This is part of where that layer of passion projects came from. So if that's something you want to do, make an appointment.